So Glencore Technology is basically unique. There's no company like us in the world in terms of how we operate. Every time we look at different areas and different fields, we're basically setting new benchmarks for the industry.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Mining Now. We are here live on scene at PDAC 2025. We've got the fortune to be at the XPS booth here. We're joined with Glenn Stieper from Glencore Technology. He's the Director of Growth and Solutions. Looking forward to really unpacking what's going on and all the exciting things that are happening at Glencore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Great turnout. I mean, there's a ton of activity that we've seen as usual at PDAC, and it seems like there's a lot of optimism in the air overall. It's been nice.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously a lot of uncertainty potentially out there in the political scene, so it's really good to see such a strong turnout in functions like this, which brings so many people in the industry together, which is a really great event. And yeah, it's great to see it still growing and still really strong. So yeah,
exactly. No, it's been wonderful. And speaking of which, with Glencore Technology, lots of focus on a lot of new innovative ways to do business. As we know, the landscape of mining is changing rapidly these days. So we have to innovate. There's no way around it. We've got to think about different things, how we do our work and how we bring materials to market. So what's new and exciting at Glencore?
Yeah, look, we've been extremely busy. So as you say, innovation is the key to our success, and pushing the boundary, pushing the industry is very critical. If you look at some of the challenges these days in the industry, holistically, a lot of the ores are depleting in terms of the grades, yet there's still a strong demand and increasing demand with copper, critical minerals, and even just the challenges of supply chains and needing countries and regions to supply their own materials and stuff. So there's a lot of challenges around that area, but we have some really great solutions that are really earmarked to addressing that problem.
Right. And I mean, it almost seems in a current climate, it almost seems kind of counterintuitive as well, because as many minerals as we're extracting, we're bringing it back into the mine site to be able to continue operating with, the BEVs and all the different sets of technology that are coming in for autonomous, haulage and autonomous drilling and all these things. So, so with the things that you're looking at challenging, what are the specific solutions that you're putting in place to really implement in the field to kind of get things moving there?
Yeah, so look, I mean, we have our sort of 5 core technologies. One of the ones that I think are probably addressing some of the biggest problems at the moment, or challenges, I say, in the industry, would be in our mineral processing suite. So we have the Jameson Cell and IsaMill and Jameson Concentrator. Again, the technology is not new technology. It's been around for sort of 3 to 4 decades, so it's a very, very well-proven technology. However, what we're doing is we're now expanding into new fields, to new ways of actually adopting our technology at a greater scope and expansion. What we're finding is enormous savings. So our technology is well proven, but every time we look at different areas and different fields, we're basically setting new benchmarks for the industry. So recovery of copper, even now iron ore, in terms of some of the performance we're getting, base metals, every time we do it, the performance is exceeding and setting an entire new benchmark for the industry. It's not just the performance side of it, it's also the CapEx, the massive reductions in terms of the CapEx size of our plants, the footprints are half the footprint of conventional sort of flotation circuits. The energy, so we're talking about 50% energy reduction, huge CapEx OpEx reductions as well. So we've got some really industry disruptive technologies. But the great thing is they're proven. So these are not new technologies. They just haven't been applied in this sort of field in terms of this scope. And it's really disruptive. We're causing huge waves in the industry. A lot of our competitors are having to innovate. We're forcing the industry to innovate. So flotation technology, or conventional, has been around for 120 years. So it's a very old technology. They've innovated and they've changed it, but not a lot. It's still, the fundamentals are still the same. So we are disrupting an industry that's been around for over 100 years. So in a really positive way. And that's, for us, is extremely exciting to be part of that and to see the positivity it's going to form on the industry in general.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Orica Digital Solutions, leading drill and blast into a new era with next-gen Shot Plus. With market-leading design tools and predictive modeling capabilities, Next-Gen Shot Plus equips drill and blast professionals to effectively improve blast designs and achieve optimal outcomes. Click below to learn more about Next Gen Shot Plus. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's heavy industry tour. Who is Savannah Equipment? Savannah Equipment Limited is a buyer and seller of new, used, and refurbished industrial equipment with a focus on mining and construction. They find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. Does the equipment need work? They can refurbish. Is there something you can't find? They source those hard-to-find items. Selling equipment? They buy, consign, and broker equipment and asset packages. Need equipment moved? Savannah Equipment manages logistics for worldwide delivery. Surface and underground ore processing, concentrating, and refining plants and equipment, power generation and electrical, pump, material handling, alluvial placer, gold mining, recycling, and much more. If you need to buy, sell, find, refurbish, or move equipment, you need Savannah Equipment. Savannah Equipment. More equipment every day. Visit them at savannahequipment.com. In the demanding world of mining, safety and performance are paramount. Sophie is a comprehensive solution built for the unique needs of the mining industry. From the ground up, their technology helps everyone who works in, manages, and leads mining operations to create high-performance work environments and ensure they come home safely every day. Create the workplace everyone wants to be a part of. Choose Sophie. Visit sophie.com to learn more.
No, that's really exciting. I mean, because, that you always get that line, right? Well, we've always done it this way,
Yeah.
right? And it got us this far, which is fantastic. But now we got to get to the next the next level or the next way.
Yeah.
And especially when we're looking at the overall marketplace for talent, right? I mean, the more that we can revisit technology and the more that we can use it, it's almost like practicing for any sport that you're practicing for. The more that you're practicing it and the more you get the benefit out of it and the more you get to hone in that craft. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
What would you say is what it's making the biggest impact for you right now as far as like being competitive on the market and what you're doing as far as streamlining your operations right now? Like what has been the biggest impact?
Again, I would say on the flotation side of things, in that space, one of the things, as I mentioned earlier on, is that the copper grades are dropping, iron ore applications, reverse silica flotation. So we're really pushing ourselves into much bigger applications. So the throughput capacity, so we're taking our cells and we're increasing to up to around 4,000 tons an hour. That basically helps us to address the need of more tonnages, lower grades, but they still need to produce the same amount of metal out of these operations around the world. So that's the challenge that's out there. Our technology actually enables them to do that, but not sacrifice anything. In fact, they even gain performance, metallurgical performance, but they also get lower CapEx, lower OpEx, lower footprint, lower carbon footprint. Essentially, we tick every single box. It's like you can eat your cake, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
And a lot of people sort of go, that's too good to be true.
Yeah.
The great thing is we have 40 years of backing of our technology to prove that this is actually real. Right. And that's slowly happening in the industry. They're finally realizing, a lot of people are looking at it going, well, that seems too good to be true. Well, let's do some tests. Let's go and look at some of these operations, look at these things running. Right. And they come back and go, wow, this is actually performing like you said. So it's from a marketing perspective, it's actually very easy because we're not having to spin anything or exaggerate anything at all.
Right.
The proof is there. It's running. It's got a strong track record. It's just people understanding the application of where it can go into, and then those savings become real. So I think that's going to have an enormous wave of impact on the industry over the next probably 10 to 20 years.
Right. Yep. And I guess there's likely going to be a big push that you guys are putting as well as far as being agnostic in the scenarios, right? Yes. Because, I mean, we know that mining is not a static thing. You're either working with near surface deposits or you're having to go much, much deeper to get access to those deposits. And those offer different sets of challenges.
Yes.
But if you're able to put some technologies or some solutions in place that are agnostic to those scenarios, well, now you're actually streamlining the process no matter where you are in your ore bodies, right?
Absolutely. And when I talk about the Jameson Cell, very, very robust, very versatile in terms of its ability to treat a lot of challenging ores. But the great thing is we also have other technologies as well. So we have the Albion process, which is an extremely robust technology. So competitors to this, your sort of pressure oxidation, your biox, those sorts of things have been around for a long time. The difference is those technologies are very sensitive to the feed. The feed has to be very controlled within certain boundaries. Otherwise, your bugs get upset and maybe die.
Right.
Or pressure oxidation, the high pressure, high temperature. You need to be very careful about how you operate those. So the feed has to be very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
With an Albion, extremely robust. You can throw anything into it. It's extremely versatile and enables you to adapt with these challenging ore types and how they're changing. Also, there's sometimes you look at toll treating, so centralizing processing, bringing different concentrates or different things in. So we have answers for all that as well, which is really good. And same on our smelting side. So the leaching or Albion is very good for probably your less than 100,000 tons, so your small applications down to around 10,000 tons a year.
Okay.
So that very small niche. However, when you get to the large sort of 100,000 tons and above, this is where you go into the smelting space.
Right.
And that's where the economic sort of transitions across. And our IsaSmelt, we have an IsaSmelt technology, again, very robust. One of its core benefits is the fact that it can treat very versatile ores. It's in terms of the sensitivity, it's a lot less in things like flash, double flash, and other sort of technologies. So it has that really a real strong ability to be versatile, to adapt with challenging ores and different sorts of feed specs that are coming in today. It's also a very, very strong environmental side of it as well. So it's fugitive emissions and things like that. We have the lowest in the world. So very good from the emission standard, which is important when it comes to smelting. It's a bit of a dirty word, but at least we have the best technology in terms of the emission standards that come out of that. So we have a lot of the things covered in terms of our technology suite.
As heavy machinery specialists for mining, SMS Equipment knows performance, like the performance they achieve together in a partnership dedicated to the success of their mining customers. At SMS Equipment, they're more than machines from trusted brands. They're the people beside you today and every day, bringing industry-leading technology and expertise to your mining operation. Because the right partnership makes everything possible. SMS Equipment, partners in your possibilities. Discover what's possible at smsequipment.com. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsman.com.
And now with that being said, because you've got a suite and you've got that flexibility at all of your sites to likely pivot as well, right? Because maybe the demand for a long time needed a smelter. Now it's switching to more Albion. Like, are you guys seeing those transitions take place?
We are actually, and I would say probably more so now than ever. With the Trump administration, tariffs, those sorts of things, particularly on our trading side, we're getting a lot of feedback that we're likely to see a lot more wanting to make metal in country. So a lot of regions now are concerned about, if all of a sudden you're having to make a concentrate and you're sending it to, say, China or wherever it's going to get processed, there's a lot of uncertainty. Is all of a sudden, is there going to be a whole lot of tariffs or taxes or something applied to that concentrate, which risks the viability of your processing plant? Because if you can't sell your concentrate or you don't get the terms, and all of a sudden your balance sheet looks pretty unstable or uncertain. So I think there's a lot of push towards doing that. And so I think, again, we're positioned really well for that space. Yeah.
I mean, you want to have that option to be as collaborative as you can be, multi-country, or as independent as you can be as a country, which is a nice token to to be able to, a nice chip to be able to play when you need it. Right?
And I think we had sometimes it's good to start with the concentrator because that's the lowest capital. Making a concentrate and selling that. Right. But then you can, as you make cash flow and as investors are happy, then you can move on to potentially making metal in the region or within that company. So there's a nice little way to step through it, which sort of minimizes the risk to investors and also to ensure you're getting your cash flow and starting to get that or lack of debt reduction. So, yeah.
And earlier on, you talked about how, you know, you've got a mission to push innovation for the sector as a whole,
Yep.
not only to, you know, to solidify how things are happening at Glencore and how you operate as a company in Glencore, but at scale,
Yep.
right? So are you able to share a little bit about, you know, what's in it for the audience that are listening in and saying, hey, I really want to start taking a look at this technology and take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Is this an open an open service? Or?
So Glencore Technology is basically unique. There's no company like us in the world in terms of how we operate. We essentially operate independent. We're within Glencore. However, we have quite a lot of autonomy in terms of how we operate. We essentially run our own P&L. We return a profit to Glencore. We're not seen as an overhead at all, yet we're very, very innovative. And we return those technologies and obviously things to Glencore and service all their operations. But the big difference is probably 90% of our business is external to the market.
Right.
It's almost it's like a charity, but one of the great things about working for Glencore is that they're willing to share those learnings and innovative leading edge innovations with the entire industry, which benefits obviously the mining companies, but also benefits communities because we're maximizing extraction of the ore body, making sure they get the best value for their products and things in the ground, their resources, which are obviously really critical to each country. So yeah, it's great.
No, and that's refreshing because, you know, we tend to, you know, the history has shown that we tend to build these black boxes that are very proprietary and also very well kept secrets to be able to have a competitive advantage. But in a current landscape where we can't keep up. Like we need much more mineral and critical minerals than we've ever needed before. You can't get the whole job done alone. So it's fantastic to be able to share with others in the market so that everybody can actually leverage the best practices and the best methods of doing it, so that we can answer the call, but also not have the outfalls of that sometimes speed can create. Right, you got some outfalls in the communities and
exactly right. Yeah, and you know, we have our core technology, as I mentioned before, but I can also mention in the space where we're also pushing and, you know, always innovating, but in the R&D space as well, not just our existing technologies. So we are moving into the coarse grinding and also the coarse flotation space as well. And that very much comes with the backbone of our Jameson Cell and our IsaMill technology. But some of the results are looking really, really promising. Some really big energy reduction savings. Very simplistic. So one of our drivers, you know, the Jameson Cell, even the IsaMill, we have a very simplistic flow sheet operation. So we're taking those as a base starting point and doing some slight modifications, but getting some really good results. So again, it's pushing further up into that flow sheet, further up, but it just adds to the very, very big energy savings that we're seeing. And when we compare it to the competitors on the market and we understand their products and stuff, because we're basing it on our existing technologies, we think we have some really big benefits, savings in terms of the CapEx, the OpEx, just the sheer complexity and footprint. We're seeing some really big opportunities and we're pretty excited about that. And again, just going back to the benefits of being part of Glencore is that we have over 100 operations. And one of the things that we always do is we test them. So we test them on our operations.
Right.
So we're very, very quick at bringing new products to market because we have access to a lot of Glencore sites and they're obviously very open to allowing us to test it. So we take our prototypes, we take our things and we test them at full scale very quickly to ensure that we don't bring, you know, our products. Our reputation is extremely important. Right. So we never would ever allow anything to be released to the market until it's completely proven at commercial scale. And we can do that better than anyone else because we have access to all the Glencore operations.
Exactly. You can just turn around and test it in real life right away.
That's right.
So, and that's a massive benefit. And we're starting to see that a little bit more in general as well. You know, that just prove it out as quick as you can so you can iterate as fast as you can and make it a stable solution, right?
Yeah.
And every time I hear, you know, energy reduction and footprint reduction, I mean, it's got a direct impact to your ESG KPIs, but also from a health and safety perspective, it just becomes something that's a lot more palatable to be able to entertain and not have those, you know, those outliers that could be impacting the operations as well that, you know, not often get taken a look at the high scale, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about finances, but usually any kind of impact that you have for finances also, impacts the ecosystem as a whole from a delivery standpoint. So
yeah, and that's right. And I think carbon is we again, it's a fairly new within the industry, and there's different ways of trying to quantify what that looks like and how you measure it and things like that. But the good thing is as we've tried to reduce capex and opex, and with our technology, just the carbon generation that's come from what we've done is a phenomenal reduction. We're talking sort of in the capex or the building construction of these concentrators, like 50% reduction, just straight up. And then you got even OPEX, half the power, all those sorts of things. They have a huge impact on that space. So
right.
Inadvertently, we're also leading edge in that space as well. So it really covers all the facets of the benefits that we need to basically go higher tonnage into the future with lower grades. It's going to require bigger operations and bigger, more energy and things like that. So we have a pretty good solution that tackles a lot of those challenges, but you don't compromise on anything in terms of performance. So yeah, it's a good position to be in.
That's fantastic. And if you're looking at all the properties that are undergoing feasibility studies and, trying to make things achievable, especially with the different dynamics, like you said, like the lower concentrates of areas that you could be mining. I guess that's one of the really attractive things as well, is that you can make the project a go or not, depending on which technology you're leveraging.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think that's one of the key areas we see. There's a lot of conventional flotation flow sheets that have been evaluated against these projects, and we would, I suppose, challenge people to look at what we offer. It is becoming a lot more accepted now in the industry. A lot of the major players now around the world, including Glencore, has full concentrator Jameson Cell in their flow sheet now moving forward. We've got them running now. We've just sold more. There's been a lot more that are coming through the pipeline. So it is becoming a lot more accepted. And I say to people, look at your economic model. When you start to apply these sorts of things to it, you might be surprised about what you thought was on the shelf and maybe marginal. All of a sudden, you might find that that's changed a lot.
Yeah, it gives you the viability you need.
Correct.
So for people that are listening in and watching and learning a lot about what you're talking about as far as your technologies and Glencore Technology as a whole, and that you're available for everyone to give you guys a try.
Yep.
What would be the invitation that you want to put out there for people to consider moving forward from this episode?
Look, I suppose one of the things that we pride ourselves on, and I think a lot of our voice of customer, we get this from a lot of our clients, is that we are very responsive. We're very quick to respond. We're more bespoke, so we're not, like some of the big players that have so much technology spread across. We're 5 core technologies. We're very focused on what we do. We're experts in our field. We don't try and do things outside. We don't try and do big engineering, stuff like that.
Right.
We stay within our lane, and we're very good at what we do. And what that enables us to do is be extremely responsive to people. So we make sure we reply to everyone, and we make sure we give them the attention that they need. And also the people we have within our business, a lot of them are, if you look at the age of the people that have been with our business, we're talking people 20, 30, 40 years. We have people that stay and they live and breathe our technology. These are not just people that come and go. We have a very, very low turnover rate with our staff because the technology is very unique, and we have people that absolutely believe in it and are passionate,
genuinely excited about it.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. It is. It's a really great company, and the vibe within the company is very exciting. So it's good.
Very good. As we wrap things up here, this has been very informative, and I'm actually pretty excited about to see the outcomes with everything that's going on at the global sales, especially with all the changes that were happening. Any closing remarks that you want to put out?
I suppose one area that I haven't touched too much on, and personally, I think it's an enormous opportunity for the industry. Again, it's taking our flotation technology, its tailings. So I talk about greenfields, brownfields expansions where a lot of old cells and things are running. There's like some of these places got hundreds of these old cells that are running, falling apart. We can replace those 100 old rectangular cells with about 5 Jameson cells. So huge reductions there. And much better performance and no blowers, so massive opportunity there. But one of the big ones is also tailings retreatment. There is a lot of material that conventional flotation has left behind over 100 years,
Right.
Which the Jameson cell can recover very well, and within a very, very small footprint and upgrade it. So we see a huge potential for retreating tailings.
Okay.
And cleaning up the acid mine drainage issues you'll get from those. The closure costs are enormous. So the ability to be able to essentially process that, take out a lot of the minerals and get value for it at the same time,
Right.
and also clean it up and take
up
some of the sulfides out of that as well. So it's a really big environmental plus. Plus, you probably make money while you're doing it because of the technology performs so well in getting those materials that the conventional wasn't able to get.
Right.
So you're sort of ticking all those boxes, and the closure costs as well by reducing that. That is a very big, usually a big burden on a lot of operations, is that huge closure cost to try and manage that ongoing for decades of trying to treat that. So I see that as another really big opportunity. And, we talk about the increasing demand in metals. So, we've got a lot of huge amounts sitting in tailings dams. Why dig up more stuff if you can go back in and economically extract it?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's another really big opportunity to try and fill that gap that's out there. So that's another one that's sort of on the side that I see really a lot of excitement in that area and opportunity as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, whether you're a new operation that wants to get things going in the latest technology, you're a current operation that needs to innovate to kind of switch the gears on how you're processing, or you're in reclamation, you got a spot.
Yes.
Everywhere along the value chain there for a mine site. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's sometimes almost overwhelming. And I think the technology is only, it's 40 years old. You think it's quite an old, but I feel like it's infancy in terms of understanding the potential. Everywhere we look, everything we test, I mentioned iron ore before. 3 months ago, we didn't know too much about it. Now the performance in the reverse silica flotation is like groundbreaking. It's doing things that no other technology can do, and it's producing green steel quality iron at recoveries that no other technology can do.
Right.
So it's everywhere we look and every time we put it somewhere, it's surprising us, it's surprising clients, and it's setting a new benchmark in the industry. So yeah, it's really exciting times ahead.
That's very good. I mean, I thank you so much. I mean, this has been very informative. I get the best, I get the front seat at all this information, which is fantastic as being a host. But I think we've shared a lot of great information for the audience that are tuning in, and how to just if you haven't considered it before, consider it again. Glencore Technology has got a lot of really neat stuff that they take advantage of for your mine site. And yeah, thank you so much for all the information, and enjoy the rest of PDAC. I mean, there's a ton of energy. So we'll keep.
And thanks very much for your time and this interview. It's been really great.
Absolutely. No, thanks. So for everybody watching, if you want to get more information about what's been covered today, please look at the information below. Everything's going to be posted there with contacts and websites and all the information you need to learn more. But again, like we just said, if you haven't considered Glencore Technology as part of your ecosystem now, it might be a great time to consider it after today, so that you can take advantage of the nice new technologies being produced.